Happening, folks. Trap is a 2024 American serial killer horror thriller starring Josh Hartnett. Now, unless I've messed up my tally, this is the 16th movie directed by M. Night Shyamalan. Now, the only thing I know about the story is the brief description I read for it when I announced its upcoming arrival on the channel here earlier this year. That was, this movie follows a serial killer evading a police blockade while attending a concert with his young daughter. Now, when Shyamalan revealed the identity of the serial killer in the marketing last year, I was immediately intrigued. More so than I would have been by the announcement of just another M. Night Shyamalan movie. I started looking forward to seeing how he was going to keep things tense and interesting after voluntarily showing us his cards before the game had even started. And nearly a year later, that is exactly what I am still looking forward to right now. You ready? This movie opens with Josh Hartnett driving his preteen daughter to a concert. And apparently, this movie is filmed in His daughter Riley is flustered because she doesn't want to be late, but Daddy Josh seems to be taking everything in stride. You may or may not know this, and it doesn't matter if you do or you don't because I'm gonna tell you anyways. Josh has been away from Hollywood for a while, and while he was gone, he got married and had 4 children, all since 2015, I think. And apparently, a large part of him landing this role relates directly to his newfound protective parental instincts. Josh helps his daughter Riley catch a quick glimpse of the artist as she's climbing off of her tour bus, and when they get in and Riley sees how close they are to the stage, she's a very happy little lady. Josh is immediately distracted by the staggering police presence, and now that I'm actually seeing this dynamic playing out, I'll hold off on that thought for a bit. As soon as the show kicks off, he excuses himself to the actual men's room where I have relieved myself thousands of times in real life. I wonder how that is for Josh Hartnett, knowing he could be standing at the same urinal that I, Johnny Recaps, once used himself. And once he's inside, he takes a look at a live cam of a man he's got chained up somewhere, and the volume is on. You can hear the guy, like, clearly, okay? Watching this scene 10 minutes into the movie, you can't tell me this wouldn't have... I'll hold off again. I make terrible coffee. On his way out of the facilities, he bumps into the mother of a girl who's been giving Riley a hard time at school. Why does he still do this stuff? He's got her looking directly into the camera, standing in the center of the frame. Like this. It's a perfectly legit shot, and it's great for intensifying a conversation or creating the effect of somebody infringing on your personal space. But the tension deflates immediately if he's not locked into it with her, which he's not. Is this important, Johnny? If he's randomly throwing shots in for the sake of variety, yeah, it's important, because it means he's lost interest in making movies. A decent director orchestrates every single frame in a film, and filmmakers who care are meticulous. But I am probably picking up on things that aren't even there because of my history with this man's movies, so I will shut up now. The woman expresses her hopes the girls can repair the damaged friendship, but Daddy Josh makes it sparkling clear he does not like the idea of anybody upsetting his daughter. And he looks pretty sincere about it. Who needs method acting when you've got 4 kids of your own? Back in the arena, Lady Raven, who's literally M. Night with straight hair, really can't act. Wow. Her dad's worth tens of millions, he has every Hollywood connection available, and he couldn't get somebody to tutor her through a couple of lines during a concert? I can act better than that, and I'm an actual moron.
E.T. wasn't real, it was a puppet.
She's been the center of this movie for 3 minutes actual screen time. They pop outside to grab Riley a t-shirt already. Concert's only started, but the fella's only got one small left, so Josh tells Riley he'll find her another one. I just had the wind knocked out of me by some M. Night dialogue. The guy behind the counter, a total stranger who's in the middle of selling t-shirts to thousands of screaming kids, says to Josh, and I quote, "You guys are good family, good values and stuff. Trust me, you don't see that. I'll get more smalls soon, and I'll put one aside for you." That was his reaction to Josh merely suggesting they don't turn the t-shirt issue into a fist fight. What has happened to you, America, my friend? So, Josh pushes the absurd scenario even further by pressing the minimum wage t-shirt salesman to tell him why the place is full of police. So, the minimum wage t-shirt salesman tells Josh they've set up a trap for the infamous serial killer, the Butcher. Very original name for him, by the way, Shammers. That must have taken a lot of thought. Now, this interaction implies, firstly, the odds Josh picked the one staff member they told everything to are staggering. And that means they briefed the entire staff, who are hundreds of potentially moronic civilians. If that sounds harsh, allow me to remind you, my friends, one of the people they trusted with the information just divulged it to the first stranger who asked, who also happens to be the Butcher. 16 minutes into this movie, and M. Night has repaid me for giving his movies my time yet again by farting in my face. Caution, the remainder of this video contains a surprising quantity of cynicism. This was not the initial intention of the content creator, however, he is only I am only human, folks. Forgive me, everybody, it's been a really long week. I haven't even done my laundry yet. So T-Shirt tells him the entire concert is a trap, and knowing the size of this place and seeing the police presence, it is safe to say this little sting would probably have cost them millions. So not only have they risked the entire operation by letting all of the staff know what's happening, they've also given the whole operation a green light without having the name of the potential culprit or even a description. Because if they had even a vague description, T-Shirt would not have been so forthcoming with the exact information Josh needed to escape the place. T-Shirt then says they're checking everybody leaving at the doors. And that has me wondering what exactly they are checking at the door if they don't have a description or a name. Join me in thinking about this one. Imagine yourself there just for a sec. Step over here a minute, sir. Oh, hello. Are you the Butcher? No. You promise? And next, while Josh and Riley are wandering around not in the concert again, Josh decides to push a girl down the stairs to create like a diversion in hopes of throwing the police off his scent. The same police who don't know his name or what he looks like. Back inside again, we are literally watching M. Night's daughter's concert. Here, she's not off in the background of the story event. She's literally front stage, pun intended. It wasn't really on purpose. I'm trying to sound smart. I'm cutting loads of this out to keep you guys sane, but I'm gonna get Johnny Edits from the future to tell me exactly how much screen time M. Night's daughter, the non-actor, ended up getting in this supposed movie. I'm gonna get him to do it right here. Is it a lot? I can't. I'm still here in the past, which is, I guess, your present, which is not to say my ugly mug is meant to be like a gift. Time traveling is complicated. He goes back to see T-Shirt for the T-Shirt again, and T-Shirt takes him down into the staff-only area, which would get you and I fired from our jobs, but we can't blame T-Shirt for anything because he is under the spell of the Butcher. Would you believe, my friends, the one T-Shirt guy Josh befriended, out of hundreds I'm sure, happens to have actual footage of some of the Butcher's work on his phone. He's a fan of the Butcher, and one of his friends arrived at a murder scene before the police did. And isn't that great for the sake of this plot? Then Josh steals T-Shirt's swipe card and asks him for the secret password the police gave everybody that morning. And he gives it to him. But this is a whole other level of genius. And on that very note, Josh wanders down into the basement next, where all of the police are gathered and they're discussing their plans out loud in full detail while Josh the Stranger is standing there listening. I mean, here on Earth, the police have these sorts of briefings in a police station or in the police van before they arrive at the location. A minute ago, he was pushing innocent girls down the stairs to avoid being seen by the cops, and now he's serving the entire task force coffee and donuts. He even knew exactly where the sugar was, even though he's never been there before. And when he leaves the police soiree, he grabs one of their radios, and nobody notices him doing that either. And that is how you know this is a genius serial killer. Everybody knows lesser serial killers can't alter physics the way these highly intelligent ones can. If you don't know that, maybe this isn't the channel for you. And he bumps into the mother again, and when Josh tries telling her he has to get back to his daughter, Riley, she warns him she has a dark side that he doesn't want to see. Now, within the context of this scene and the movie as a whole, and, my personal sense of common sense, I'll be trying to understand why he wrote that particular line of dialogue for the woman, probably for years. Their conversation draws the attention of the police. They didn't notice him when he was twitching up and down the halls like a meth head at 5 a.m. They didn't notice him pushing an innocent woman down the stairs, but now that he's actually blending in by looking like your average husband disagreeing with his wife, now that is suspicious. Fortunately and conveniently for Josh, though, a great big fight breaks out at the exact same time, so he's safe. You don't have to worry about him if you're doing that anti-hero support thing. I get it. And we're back at the concert again, and it would appear Josh also grabbed an earpiece to go with his trusty police radio. I just had a thought. Why doesn't he just throw on one of their uniforms, tell everybody he's their boss, and send them all home early? I mean, a plan like that wouldn't work for me or you, but we already know he has the IQ to pull something like that off. So, the head of the FBI, a white-haired, 79-year-old, frail-looking, 5'1" lady, gives a psychology lecture over the radio. And she talks in great detail about what's going through Josh's mind and what his next few moves are going to be now that his first few moves haven't worked. But Josh can hear her psychology lecture, so he's not going to do what she's saying he's going to do. And yes, I can hear you at home, folks. You're probably thinking, how can she know everything about him, down to his thoughts and actions, if they don't know anything about him? And I'll just remind you, how smart he really must be for everything to be going his way, the way it is. Oh my god, I've just realized we're watching a fucking concert. So Josh starts walking around again while FBI Golden Girls edition is narrating exactly what he's thinking and what he's doing without knowing who he is or where he is. So he goes behind the counter of a burger place, cranks the oil up to full, and dumps 2 big glass containers into it. Now, there are dozens of people lined up for food, and Josh Hartnett is 6'3", but he is such an evil mastermind, nobody even notices him. Do you have any idea how smart you have to be to turn invisible at a burger stand? You know how smart Hannibal Lecter is. He tried decreasing his transparency at a taco. So Josh uses the explosion as a distraction and grabs a spare apron and sneaks up to the roof next. But there's 2 cops up there, and everything's all of a sudden very tense. But not anymore, because they asked him for the password, and he just gave it to them. But then things get really tense again when the police ask him for his staff member card. There was no way these 2 cops could have possibly anticipated coming face to face today with the genius, undefeatable, diabolical Ray Skywalker. And it just so happens the spare apron he grabbed from a random hook has a wallet in it. And there are a lot of cards in the wallet. And despite not having any idea which card they're talking about, Josh presents one to them with the confidence only a 164 IQ individual could possibly present. And if you were concerned that was the last display of his boundless intelligence in this scene, don't worry. Because he turns back around and tells the police to tell him everything they know about FBI Golden Girls as well. And they do. Then Riley comes looking for her dad again. And so far, if my calculations are correct, which they are, this concert has had 5 breaks so far. We are 36 minutes in, and that means, if you consider the average length of a radio-friendly pop song like these ones, that'll mean Lady Raven is taking a break after every song. Back in the concert again, Riley tells her daddy she really hopes she gets picked to go up on stage with Shammer's daughter for a bit of a boogie. But Josh is distracted because he is trying to figure out how to get backstage. And at that exact second, Riley also mentions, almost like an afterthought, if she gets picked, that'll get them backstage. And again, folks, I can hear you at home, your gut's telling you, M. Night is not even trying to write a movie here. Feels more like a long series of highly convenient events strung together one after the other on either side of clips of his daughter singing songs. But you are just incapable of understanding how smart Josh really is. That's not an insult. I can't understand it either. In fact, he is so smart, he finds the closest staff member next. And it's not just any staff member, it's M. Night himself, cast in another of his own movies. And he's not just any staff member, he's also Lady Raven's uncle, or her mother's brother, which is a very natural and relevant detail between two total strangers at a pop concert. But my point is, Josh is so cunning. Out of 50,000 plus people, he knew to go to probably the only person in the arena who could arrange for his daughter to get up on that stage. That's diabolical ingenuity, folks. You know it's diabolical ingenuity. Admit it. Admit it's diabolical ingenuity. Josh then tells Shammers Riley has just gotten over leukemia, and you're not going to believe what happens next. Oh, you guessed it immediately. You're absolutely right. Riley gets chosen to go up on stage with Lady Wrecking the movie. Raven. You know what that means. We don't have to watch this silly concert anymore. From the floors, I mean. Now we get to watch it from the side of the stage, which is much, much closer. After another 8 minutes of concert footage, Daddy and Riley are told to wait backstage for a few minutes. And while they're waiting backstage, FBI Golden Girls is calling all the shots like Vince Lombardi. She advises everybody Josh is now impersonating a staff member, and he's 10 feet away from her while she's saying it. Which is to say, she knows exactly what his next thoughts are, and he's also standing right there. And even though she just told everybody he is impersonating a staff member, she announces all this information over the radio. You know who has access to radios? Fucking staff members. But in fairness, she had no way of knowing he'd be listening to everything she was saying. She's only the head of the FBI. Retirement home division, possibly. Lady Raven is inside the FBI control room now. And the head of the FBI is going through everything with her, and they end the interaction with FBI Golden Girls assuring Lady Raven she'll contact her as soon as they have any updates. Shammers has either lost his mind, so Josh takes Lady Lucky Balls into a private little back room, alone. The star of the concert goes into a little room by herself with a 6'3" strange man, while hundreds of police officers are scouring the building for a serial killer they know is inside. And he tells her he's the butcher, and if she doesn't give him a ride home in her limo, he's going to finish off his hostage with a little button on his phone. So they just go get into her limo. Did she not? They go straight to her limo, even though she arrived on a tour bus. And then, the star of this concert, the talent, the focus of every security guard in the building and on her tour staff, and suddenly the main character of this fucking movie, just leaves. Then Lady Raven offers to go to Josh's house, and instead of him saying, no thanks, just drop us off here, they go to his house. And they all eat dinner together. I just had to listen to her music that whole time, and now I have to watch her trying to act. All kidding aside for just a second, I can't process this. M. Night, you selfish, but also possibly selfless son of a bitch. Worst movie director ever, but an amazing dad, maybe? Now she's delivering an M. Night over-explanatory monologue. And while she's over-explaining everything, as per every other Shammers movie, she really, really can't act. And she looks more like him than he does. If I'm not careful, this could knock me unconscious. She's a pop singer, and she's explaining the psychology of serial killers and police processes and procedures, and she's sitting down at the family piano to sing more of her fucking music. She's singing again, and the camera's right on her. She's not off in the distance singing somewhere while people are acting out scenes in a movie. It's another musical performance in somebody's living room. And she takes Josh's phone into the bathroom to contact the hostage directly. And the whole time, Josh, our butcher, the brilliant, inventive, elusive serial killer at large, Ray Skywalker, with an incredible sense of self-preservation, just lets her do it. So Lady Raven tells Josh's family through the door Josh is the butcher. So Josh puts his family upstairs in a room, and then he opens the bathroom door from the outside, now that all the damage is done, and politely asks for his phone back, while she's making 5'3" tough girl faces at him, of course. When Josh realizes his victim has escaped, he corrals her into a car in the garage, where her acting reaches a whole other level. Oh my God. Without warning or explanation, she starts speaking to him like she is his mother because FBI Golden Girls also told her about Josh's upbringing without knowing who he is. They know his entire story, but he served them coffee and donuts. Did FBI Golden Girls teach her this Ginny from Friday the 13th trick just in case this exact sequence of events transpired and she ended up alone with him in a car? Why? Imagine this exact thing happening at Planet Hollywood in Vegas with the FBI sitting down with Britney Spears. The knives make sense now. They get out of the car and the police show up to surround the place, and then Josh takes over driving the limo because there's a tunnel in his kitchen. He's wearing one of their uniforms. There's a helmet and everything. Remember I joked about him doing this earlier? I was being sarcastic. Then the limo gets stuck in traffic and lady ruining my movie gets her window open, and that makes people surround the car, and then she jumps out. When the police approach the not moving, surrounded by people limousine, he snuck out of it and gotten changed, also without being seen. And even though the sidewalk is packed with civilian spectators, the police fire a bullet into the limo window towards the crowd. Shammers hasn't even bothered clearing the public out for the scene. While they're all shouting into the car and chucking bullets around, Josh is standing amongst them. This cannot be a real movie. And next, just to make sure we have enough scenes starring her, we follow Lady Wrecking My Life as she goes to see the hostage victim she freed, and he's just standing around on the sidewalk. No counselors for his trauma, no police protection from anything further occurring. He's just hanging out. Back home, Josh is snuck back in without being seen again. But given this is Rey Skywalker, he takes his shirt off for no reason and tells his wife he's going to end her because she tipped off the police he was the butcher and that he was going to the concert. My brain is actually fried now. I need your help, folks. I've just listened to his wife's explanation 3 times. Firstly, does this statement from Josh make any sense to you? I'm not great at a lot of things, Rachel, but keeping my 2 lives separate is not one of them. That's word for word. Next, she followed Josh to one of his safe houses one day. When she started suspecting he might be the butcher, she left the receipt for his concert tickets at the safe house and phoned the police. As she told them, she thought the ticket might belong to the butcher. But the police didn't ask how she came to that conclusion. They just set up a massive sting at the concert. And I can't figure out why she wouldn't have left the house while he was there. Nor can I figure out why she would have let her daughter go with him. And finally, right when he's about to end his wife for ratting him out, she suggests they eat some pie first. And they do. And he eats the pie, which she has drugged, I don't know when. And then the police storm the place, and all of the drugs he just ate in the pie disappear. He's still got coconut cream on the tip of his nose, but he's strong enough to take out 2 cops while they are actively tasing him. And when they do eventually get his shirt back on and get him handcuffed, they allow him to stop and pick his daughter's bike up off the grass. Then Riley comes home early, even though they all have radios, and she breaks through the FBI police barrier because FBI police barriers are no match for a 4'7", 13-year-old girl. Once he's finally secured in the back of the meat wagon, he removes a 9-inch brake cable from the bike he just stole without anybody seeing him do it. And he undoes his handcuffs, and the movie ends. I was not expecting this. This is as M. Night Shyamalan as it gets, with a single caveat. As always with this guy, there's something very interesting and provocative at the heart of this story idea. But a story idea is not a movie. There are a lot of potential scenarios in which Shyamalan's little idea of this trap could have played out kind of nicely. He touched on it a few times. First, completely hold off on Josh's identity. Have him helping out during the concert the way he was. Have him continue to be the amazing dad he was. Have him hold off a bit on freaking out on the other girl's mother. He could have used Josh's protective instincts as a father to keep him completely off our radar the entire time. When he was acting strange, we would have believed he's doing everything in his power not to end the concert early, knowing how happy it's making his daughter. We also would have believed he's jittery because there's a serial killer somewhere near him and his daughter. That bathroom stall reveal should have closed the second act, even better, closed the entire movie. But this is where my caveat comes in. As much as I enjoy making fun of the man's movies, M. Night is a very intelligent guy. I don't believe these glaring mistakes are actually mistakes at all. The famous M. Night twist ending. And the big shocking twist in his latest movie, Trap, is it's actually a 90-minute promotional reel for his non-acting daughter. I never would have saw that one coming, that's for sure. I don't know how I feel about it yet, but you would not convince me I'm wrong. You know, on the one hand, fuck you, Shammers, for taking my money in exchange for not what was advertised. But on the other hand, that's a pretty badass thing for a father to do for his child. Did I just get emotional? No, I did not. But of course, that's just what I think. If you've seen Trap already, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you very much for hanging out, watching the video. And until next time, folks.